Good evening and welcome to Greg Mitchell Field on the campus, Missouri Valley College, as we have soccer tonight. Heart of America Conference, Culver-Stockton taking on the Missouri Valley College Vikings in this first match. Missouri Valley is second in the conference behind Baker. They're 3-0-2, and Culver comes in 2-3. Tyler Tomlinson in his 6th year as the head coach of the Wildcats, and had a chance to visit with him a few moments before game time, and he was talking about all the injuries they've had. They're down to their 3rd or 4th string goalie. Anna Stock, I believe, will start. Anna's from Quincy, and she will get a start in this match tonight. As we look at the statistics in goal, she has not started a match, so this will be her first start. Anna is a sophomore out of Quincy. Also in the starting lineup, Janelle St. Pierre, Stephanie Adelman, Sydney Martin, Maggie Hauska in the starting lineup, Kyra McGrady, Mikkel Parrott, Heather Pendecraft, Leah Miller, Hannah Malady, and Abby Graw. That's the starting lineup for Culver. The Vikings go in goal with Janae Stone. She is a senior out of Kansas City. Laura Bustos, Belen Lafuente, Haley Nichols, Andrea Garcia, Melissa Urena, Victoria Hill getting a start tonight, along with Nerea Biete, Madison Dean, Julia Amador, and Riley Kerr. That is the starting lineup that we have it for the Vikings tonight. Vikings in their white with the orange numerals, purple trim across the front, and Culver in their blue striped jerseys, blue shorts. Wildcats from Canton, Missouri. So I hope you enjoy the doubleheader. Thanks to John Shiles, the SID at Culver, for all the information on the Wildcats. This broadcast copyrighted by the Mass Communication Department of the Communications, Humanities, and Human Service Division, Missouri Valley College, for the private use of our audience. Any retransmission or the use of the content of this broadcast without the express written consent of Missouri Valley College is prohibited. Chaz Matty is alongside, and Chaz, should be a good match here. The Viking women scored early and often in the Saturday night win over Mount Mercy. Let's see if they can do the same tonight.
It was a flurry of goals for this Viking team Saturday night. 3 in the first half, and then 3 quick ones in the second half to really dominate the offensive flow of the game. And Mount Mercy the other night just couldn't get anything going. It'll be interesting to see if Missouri Valley can repeat that offensive performance tonight.
Well, here we are in October, but it feels more like a early September or late August evening. It is warm in Marshall. Not much of a breeze, a little breeze out of the south, but so it's going to be rather warm down on that field this evening. There's the first throw in for the Wildcats. They come in 2-3. Again, their coach is Tyler Tomlinson in his 6th year, and sitting talking to him beforehand, he said just a ton of injuries. He said his first 5 years here, he had 3 ACL injuries. He's had 3 already this year. So, one of those years, and that happens to just about any sports team. Once in a while, you'll have the injuries.
Where all the injuries are basically contagious.
Yep.
I mean, you wouldn't think a knee injury would be contagious, but one person goes down, then it kind of snowballs, and a couple others go off, and then your team's just basically crippled the rest of the season.
Belen Lafuente will send it in for the Vikings. Just underway tonight, and we will have both matches for you. And this one in a goal. And that may be Abby Mikesell. We'll check. See if that's Abby or Anna. Coach wasn't sure who he was going to start in goal. No, it is Anna Stock out of Quincy, 5'9" sophomore. Her first start in goal for the Wildcats. Wildcats with possession near midfield. And they battle for possession. Garcia had it for a moment. Give it off to Nerea Biete, who checking the weather. We have some weather on the way.
Weather on the way. 82 degrees currently, but thunderstorms apparently on the horizon.
Ooh, don't want to hear that. See, look behind us to the west, and there are some clouds seeming to build up. Riley Kerr sends it into the middle. LaFuente, or rather Nichols, gives chase. Haley Nichols, congratulations to Haley. She is the Heart of America Conference Offensive Player of the Week in soccer. A couple of goals in the win over Mount Mercy Saturday night. In fact, she was close to a triple, hat trick. Now the Wildcats send it back to Stock. She's from Quincy. Good high school soccer in Quincy. One of those areas where play a lot of good youth soccer and high school soccer. Here's Pizzini. I think I may have mentioned Victoria Hill in the starting lineup rather than, well, it is Pizzini, but it is Pizzini in there, number 10. And this one goes out. We're just underway in the first half. Glad you can be with us, whether you're watching from Culver-Stockton, the Canton area, wherever you're watching. Across the ocean, wherever. Maybe watching in Spain. Brazil. A lot of different countries represented on these two teams, especially on the United States team. Laura Bustos is from Spain. So is La Fuente. Garcia's from Spain. Pizzini, Brazil. Biete, Spain. And several from the St. Louis area. We've played about 4 minutes, no score. Here's a pass in front of the Viking goal, but that's going to be stopped by La Fuente. And she'll give it back to Janae Stone. Stone sends it all the way to midfield. Men's game the other night, 1-0. The Vikings won that one.
And there was a lot of play between the 20s.
Yes.
The other night.
Julia Amador gives it back to Bustos. I asked Laura the other day, I said, did your family get to watch? She says, yeah, they usually watch on the replay because it's the middle of the night in Spain. And I said, well, what were their comments on what we say? And she goes, neither one of them speak English, so they just watch. And I said, well, I guess that's the safest comment I could get. Safest comment we could get. But, yeah, a lot of these international gals, especially in Europe, if they'll watch sometime tomorrow. Garcia's shot is blocked, and another shot goes wide left.
And a corner kick onto the far side.
So this will be our first corner kick.
Near side, I guess.
Of the evening. Big task for Anna Stock. Again, her first start of the year in goal. So here's the corner kick. And sends it in front. Stock got a hand on it, knocked it down to the turf, and then reached over and grabbed it.
Very aggressive goalkeeping play right there by Stock. First knocking it down and then corralling it so that Valley could not pounce on the loose ball.
Headed right back toward her from Pizzini. And she'll send this one to about midfield to the left side. And that's where the Wildcats want to go on the attack, but Bustos gets to it and sends it out on the far side. Laura and Madison Dean rarely come out of these matches, maybe for a few minutes, but if Drew will substitute, those two usually stay in on that back line.
Yeah, I think you want to maintain a consistent presence on the back line to prevent any kind of counter-offensive flow. Two good defenders there for Valley.
Speaking of, there's Bustos. She gets to that one now. Battle for possession around midfield. And this one sent back into the Viking end, and Bustos will go back and get this one. Send it back up, working the Viking right side, and it goes out. 37 minutes to go in the first half. If this contest is anything like the one we had Saturday night, the women's match was very clean. Very few stoppages in play. Send this one in. Is Kerr onside? They're going to rule she's onside. Sends it in, and it rolls wide left.
I'm not sure that she was onside. I think she was doing such a good job of trying to stay onside that the play just kind of evaporated there in front of her, and she didn't get much of a shot on goal.
I thought about 30 yards out she was going to be offside, but they didn't wave it off, so she got the shot, but it goes wide to the left side. Juliana Doyle directing our live stream coverage tonight. Who's working camera tonight?
Georgina Padilla and Jesus Silly.
All right, they're working camera tonight. We'll be back here next Wednesday for more soccer. No football this weekend. The Vikings, everyone in the conference is off. Well, I'll tell you one thing, the Culver-Stockton Wildcat football team gave the Vikings all they wanted Saturday. Wow.
There was an impressive offensive performance for Culver-Stockton.
That was a good football game.
That quarterback was something else.
Yeah, Vikings got away late, but boy, it was a heck of a football game. So everyone's off this week, and then the Vikings will start in South play against CMU. That's a television game, the early game. As battle for possession goes on here. Vikings giving chase. And Urena.
Just a little too tall for Haley Nichols there.
Culver-Stockton has scored 21 goals, given up 16 this year. The Vikings have scored 31 and given up only 8. All 8 of those given up by Janae Stone. She has started 10 all 10 matches, giving up just 8 goals. Lights taking effect as we approach 20 minutes after 6. And just keep that rain away from us till about 10:30.
I think my phone app is screwy. I don't think there's going to be rain.
We hope.
That's just me.
We hope
I'm no
not.
meteorologist, but that's my inclination.
Not for a while anyway.
No.
Ooh, the Vikings almost had a 2-on-2, but Lorena couldn't get to it. And the Wildcats bring their defense up near midfield. Riley Kerr gets a foot on that one. And the Vikings try to set up an attack, but they send it back now to Bustos. Bustos ahead to Nichols. Haley not very big. Good goal scorer. She is out of O'Fallon, Missouri. Good soccer in the St. Louis area. Sends a long one in. That's handled by Stock. Neither team's had a real good chance on goal yet.
Yeah, again, much like the men's game the other night, a lot of offensive transactions between the 20s, not a lot beyond that. Teams still kind of feeling each other out.
Here come the Wildcats, but Dean is back to send that one right side. 34 minutes to go in the half. Throw in coming for the Wildcats. One thing about when you play Culver-Stockton, you should not be unprepared with information. John Childs, the SID at Culver-Stockton, is a wealth of information, and we always appreciate it. He sent rosters with pronunciations, and he did not have the men's pronouncers, so I just sent him an email. He immediately, boom, there it is. So we appreciate it.
That
John's
makes the life of a
watching.
broadcaster a lot easier to have all that information.
Yep. He's one of the best at this level, no question about it. And Vikings send this one in. Viete, where's number 17, gives it off to Garcia. Back to Dean. Dean to the middle. Covered up there nicely defensively.
Neither team's been able to really maintain possession for long
No.
periods of time. It's a couple passes and then basically a turnover.
Get it into Nichols, and then she got away from the defender. The whistle had stopped play. I think at that time Haley wished they would not have blown that whistle because she was onside, and then after the collision she was heading after a loose ball in front of the 18-yard box, but
and it was one-on-one. It was just her
one-on-one.
and the goalkeeper, and that would have been it. And it's about 3 yards outside the box where the shot where Pizzini will be taking this kick.
Leading goal scorer for the Vikings is Julia Amador has 7, then Nichols has 6. All right, here's Pizzini, sends it over the top and scores. Top left corner, and Anna Stock just couldn't get up high enough. That ball just out of her reach in the top left corner, and that goal is for Laiz Pizzini, and the Vikings take a 1-0 lead.
And Culver-Stockton built a wall of defenders in front of Pizzini. Pizzini just lifted the ball up, let the wind do a little bit in terms of bending, and then bended it over to the left, upper left corner. It was a beautiful shot by Pizzini.
That's her 3rd goal of the year. So the Vikings take the early lead. Now Drew says go play defense. Ball in the Viking end, but controlled by Valley. Bustos sends it all the way from right to left. Now back to the middle to Garcia. Nice footwork by Garcia, trying to get through a couple of defenders, but it's taken away from her. Nice passing by Valley here. Biete. Nurea Biete, her twin sister Leira, also on this team.
Good backside defense there from Culver's Parrott to take the ball away.
Mikhail Parrott. She's out of Gilbert, Arizona, the Phoenix area. The Vikes send it down the left side. Kerr hustles after it but can't get to it. Goes out. 1-0 Vikings with the lead. We are in the first half. Played about 15 minutes. Biete sends it in to Amador. Now back to Garcia, but she loses it. But Bustos is over there to take care of it and send it up the left side, and where it's taken by the Wildcats. Wildcats keep it in play over there. Now will be possession to the Wildcats. We've played 15 minutes. Vikings lead 1-0. And really, the Wildcats have not had a good shot on goal yet. We'll send this one in with the left foot. It's out in front, knocked away by the Vikings. Now they want to push it on the attack. This one by Garcia sent way deep into the Wildcat end. And it goes out. It'll be Viking possession. Garcia out of Spain.
Long feed, good idea. Let her chase it down and just see who's the faster of the two.
Faster. Biete will have the throw in here. From the left side. The near side as we look down on Greg Mitchell Field. Here's the throw in. Headed away by the Wildcats. Garcia trying to keep it in. Wildcat in. Now this one goes out right next to Coach Tyler Tomlinson.
Good Wildcat defense. There just wasn't a whole lot of room for Valley to operate after that throw in.
This team is 5-4 overall, 2-3 in league play. Sent in left side.
There's no one home.
Nobody there. That one will roll all the way. Almost out.
Oh.
Now the Wildcats do get possession of it. Bustos guarding that left side, and they'll send this one all the way back. It'll be I believe possession will be a corner kick.
It's a corner. Yeah, it must have hit off of off La Fuente and went out of bounds before Bustos cleared it.
So corner kick coming here for the Wildcats, their first corner of the match. And sent in with the right foot, headed toward the goal, but that goes wide left.
It's kind of, the referee was talking to Laura Bustos, and I couldn't catch the number of the Wildcat player. They were kind of jostling for position in front of the net. And Laura had her hands up, and I kind of chuckled because Laura is one of the most quietest,
Quiet.
Yes. Just people that I'm out there like, oh, she's out there jostling, bouncing bodies around.
Yeah, I have to talk to her about that in class a lot of times when she does speak. Very, very intelligent, very good student. But when she does speak, you almost have to say, "Speak up, young lady." I can't. But she's a very good student and a real good defensive soccer player.
So I'd be curious to hear what that story was about the jostling in front of the goal.
Wait a minute, you, Miss Bustos? Yeah, she did. That is not her personality off the field at all. Possession to the Wildcats. Set it on the left side. And the Vikings are there. Now they'll send it back to Bustos, and she'll try to send it up the right side. I asked Laura about when I watch her play, and if on every time she gets it, if she's decided which way to go, and she's just played enough soccer, she said, no, I kind of see what's open, and I'll go right or left, wherever I think is open. So, there's no set play. She just sends it where she thinks the best opportunity would be each time. Good player. She's only a junior. 1-0 Vikings lead. And Kerr gets to that one, sends it to about midfield. Now Garcia, she likes that long pass and sends this one up, makes Kerr go chase it. But it's run down by the Culver defender.
And then off of Kerr for a Wildcat throw-in.
Garcia likes that long pass, doesn't she?
Well, it's to get your offense a chance to run it down and try to make a play. They can get around and behind the defender, and you have people coming from the backside to help out. There's an opportunity there, but so far 0 for 2 on that kind of Hail Mary pass.
Here's the throw-in. Looks like it goes to Parrott. But now taken away by Garcia. She'll settle in, send it deep, and this one gets by. I think she was trying to get that one to Urena. Melissa Urena. And she ran into a defender, gets up holding her shoulder. And
yeah, I think she hit the turf pretty hard.
Anna Stock will send it in. But over there is La Fuente. Dylan La Fuente for the Vikings. It'll be a possession to the Wildcats. Down to the 23-minute mark of the first half.
Urena was working that left shoulder. She's still grabbing that left shoulder. What's a little bit of discomfort, or just a little tight, or just from the collision, or hitting the turf?
Looked pretty good. Yeah, she hit that turf pretty hard. Now Garcia trying to maintain possession.
She's still trying to work it out, rotating that left shoulder.
Doesn't want to come out. Drew's looking out there, but no indication he's gonna sub for her. In the men's game, the Viking men are 4-4-1 overall, 1-2-1 in league play, and Culver 4-4-3 and 1-3-1. So that should be a pretty good match coming up. But a long ways to go in this one. Kerr and Biete battling for position there. Here comes the throw in. And that one goes across the goal line. Be a corner for the Vikings. This one rolled in. Pazzini! Oh! There was a defender in the right place at the right time. Wow.
And it was right at her.
Stock was on the left side as we look at that goal, and that defender was on the right, and that shot by Pazzini went right at her. Went off her body and came back out. Now the Vikes center pass, but it's taken away. Yeah, that was a tough break for Pazzini and pretty good defense.
Good positioning.
Good positioning.
Good defensive positioning for the defender, and boy, it came right to her, and she cleared it out. But Stockade would have had no chance in trying to guard the backside of that goal.
Kerr now hits the turf. Here's the long pass up, but Dean's going to control this one and send it across to Bustos. Lower to midfield to Pazzini. Sends one down. They try to get it to Nichols. Nichols coming down the right side. And Stock coming all the way out, almost all the way out of the 18-yard box to come up with that one on the left side, on the right side. Thought for a minute, Haley had a step on that defender. This one headed out by Biete. So possession to the Wildcats. And here comes the throw in from Abby Graw. Graw has it, sends this one in. But the Viking defense has been very good. And that one hit one of the young ladies. I think it was Parrott.
Parrott right in the head.
Tough way to knock it out. So here's
that'll wake you up.
Yeah, the Vikings try to continue to work their left side. This one headed off to Garcia. Now she'll just knock it out. And they say it was off the Wildcats. So once again, a throw in coming for Biete.
I think it was Janelle St. Pierre that had the block.
Was it? Okay.
But I mean, I like Culver's old school uniforms with the white stripes going across, but their numbers are hard to read.
That is a broadcaster's nightmare. Yeah, I think you. Yeah, I believe it was
number 2.
Pierre, number 2. Here come the Vikings. There's Nichols on that right side trying to get around the corner of a defender. Sends it in, but right to Stock. She had the angle cut off, and she was right there. Yeah, I like the uniforms, but again, from a broadcaster's perspective, they're hard to...
It's hard to tell what's going on.
They're hard to see.
Because there was good defensive positioning there by Culver. Urena couldn't get by on that centering pass from the right side. Couldn't get by her defender. And it was an easy save for Stock, or an easy catch for Stock.
1-0 Valley with a lead. Right here in the microphones, the wind whipping around just a little bit. But you know what? That breeze feels good in here. It's warm.
It does feel good.
Warm this evening.
Yeah, at this point, I can't figure out if the radar on my phone is wrong or if the actual weather forecast on my phone is wrong. Because the wind has picked up.
Wind has picked up. Let's hope if it is going to rain, it'll stay away till later tonight. Take a look back to the southwest. Doesn't look too bad at this point in time. And with nothing else going on, Biete just sends that one out. It'll be a throw in for the Wildcats. Good job by Garcia to get it back to Dean and then to Bustos. Right in the center of the field. And she starts to bring it up still with some nice footwork and decides to go back to Janae Stone.
We haven't called her name in a while, so why not?
Yep. Make sure Janae's still awake.
And really, I can only think of one, maybe two instances where Culver has had the ball beyond the 20-yard line of the football field on that right side.
Beyond any time to shoot, yeah. Within
striking distance.
Yeah, within 20 yards or so. Yeah, the Vikings are onside, and a good stop by Stock. Ooh. Well, again, I wasn't sure that was onside, but it was not ruled offside, so Garcia just went straight to the goal, and a good stop by Anna Stock. Not playing too poorly in her first start of the year.
Well, and Stock had her hands out at her sides, and basically the ball just hit it. It was almost like, looky what I have, Merry Christmas kind of a play. If her hands are any higher, the ball's by her.
Yep. So Garcia could have been 2-0, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, she just had her hands outstretched and went right to her. So it's a throw in for Valley, leading 1-0. And this one is knocked out. They'll do it again. The breeze has picked up somewhat. About 16 and a half minutes to go in this first half. But the weather certainly doesn't look threatening in any way. Down that left side, the Vikings' right side. Vikes control it. And they'll try to get it there, and they do. To Nichols, tries to send it out, and that one's headed away.
This is probably the longest amount of sustained pressure Valley has had all game long.
Yeah, you're right. Culver just has not had many opportunities really within 25, 30 yards, 25 and 30 yards out. Here come the Vikes again. Send it to the middle, but no one home. But Dean and Bustos were all the way up to midfield. And so now they'll send it back to Laura, and she'll reset. Where's number 2 on her white jersey. Good defense by the Wildcats here. They'll have control. Again, they go on the attack, trying to get something going, down by a goal, but once again, Dean is there just to send that one back right to there, and the 3 bounces right to Coach Tyler Tomlinson.
Yeah, I think Tomlinson was shaking his head. There was a pass there, and Dean was just right there in the middle of it. And it's almost like for a quarterback to see the pass, she kicked the ball up, and there was an offensive player cutting through, but the ball ended up going right to Dean, who stood there and then kicked it away.
Come the Wildcats. Once again, Bustos in good position. Off to Kerr. Now to Garcia. All the way across to the right side, LaFuente. Long way to run to get to that one. And ahead it comes to Nichols. Haley, senior out of O'Fallon.
It's called Urena offside. The defense sidestepped, and then Urena was behind the play without the ball and got flagged right away, right in front of the official.
So the Wildcats will send it into the Viking end, but once again, it's Bustos with the header, and it comes right back to her. And she'll send it up. That right side may have went out.
And Culver has a person down at the 40.
Culver has an injured player over there. She's up. Maybe taking a shot in the back.
I think they collided heads on the header.
Okay.
After Bustos headed it forward, I think there were 2 players that kind of banged together. and she took the brunt of it.
I think she's going to stay in. The two players over there were. She's going to come out now.
Well, 13's going in and 8's coming out.
Yeah, eight's coming out. Those again, those uniform numbers are very difficult to see.
I think
that's 2.
No, it's 2.
Yeah, it looked like an 8, and that is Janelle St. Pierre, who's coming out. I don't think she was the gal that was collided. I think that was a Hauska, Maggie Hauska, I believe, number 7. But St. Pierre is taking off the left shoe, and she's headed over to the trainer of the Viking bench. They cut off some tape around an ankle. Sometimes you get a little sprain and you're not used to wearing that tape, so you tape it up, and it's worse than not having it taped. So I think that's bothering her. Yeah, she's just going to take the tape off and say forget it.
Almost too tight.
Yep. We play on here with 13 and a half minutes to go in the first half, 1-0. Vikings, good clean game. First sub coming in for the Vikings, Brianna George, out of Yorba Linda, California. She's a junior. And checking out for the Vikings is Melissa Urena. Drew, this is the time of match he usually substitutes a little bit. So George is in there now. Urena is out.
Another sub coming in.
And that is going to be Fernanda Portugal. She's out of Brazil. She's a senior.
Looks like Fazzini coming out.
Fazzini checks out. Fazzini, the goal scorer. Nichols gets by a couple of defenders up the right side. Looks to center this one. And she does. Oh, and that may have come off the foot of one of the Vikings who went up over the top of the goal.
Just chipped it a little bit too high, but there was an open net for the Vikings. That would have been
Sylvia. That is Sylvia Cortieda. Sylvia Cortieda. She's also from Spain, and she has several goals for the Vikings. Now Nichols slips, gets back up, controls it to La Fuente, but it's cleared out nicely by the Wildcats. But again, this Viking defense just has not allowed the Wildcats to get close at all, and Vikings have been on the attack most of the first half, and we're down to 11 minutes and 40 seconds.
And basically Cole right now is resulting to just clearing the ball out of the zone.
Yeah, it's just
getting it as far away from there as possible, which is about the center line, and then the Vikings are back on the attack.
Yeah, the time, if you would, time of possession in the opponent's end, the Vikings, they have been on the attack most of the half. Even the defense players, Bustos all the way up to midfield. Now gives it back to Dean, and they'll work it to Biete. Back to Dean. Try to get this one through to Curtiada. Curtiada wears number 14.
A lot of pinball action right now.
Yeah. And this one goes out. Attempting to save that from going out was Heather Pendergraft. She's out of St. Clair, Missouri. 1-0. Here's the throw in. Headed away by the Wildcats. Julia Amador. Can't come up with a pass.
Offside.
Goes back down to George. And there'll be an offside. Crowd started to get excited for a moment.
But Nichols is well behind the defense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not one you can argue about. So here's Sydney Martin. Defense person sends it in. Got a good left foot. But the Vikings again head it right back to midfield. And battle for position. There's George. She gets possession. Heads to the right side. Here come the Vikings again. Send this one in. And Portugal is onside, but coming coming out of goal to get that is Anna Stock.
Found the open space, just a little too far in front of Portugal there to have any kind of offensive pressure.
Now the Wildcats send it in deep. They have it 2-on-1. Dean has to go back and get it. She wisely just sends it to the sideline.
And sub for Culver.
Christy Chin appears, checks in. Where's number 4? Christy is out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Freshman.
And I think it was Pendergraph that came out.
Pendergraph comes out. Culver trying to keep it in play. Sends one in front. Knocked away by Bustos. Now the Vikings again. This about the best attack we've seen the Wildcats, but they can't do anything with it, and finally cleared all the way into the Wildcat end.
That was a good read by Bustos, too, coming in front, intercepting the pass before it could bounce to Culver's offensive set.
Now Bustos goes and chases this one back and says, let's just send it out, regroup. 8 minutes is all that remains in this first half. We move right along here. How about that? I like that. The little somersault.
I do like that.
The little somersault and then throw in. Guess you're supposed to get a little bit more on it, or
it's a little tricky with that cement track out there, the asphalt track.
Sure looks good though.
Yeah,
So if I tried that move, I'd be on my back and never get up.
yeah, I'd be in traction.
Culver down by a goal, and they have about 8 minutes with which to work here in the first half.
The whole somersault over the ball thing,
I don't
not
know.
a chance.
I don't know if it looks good.
Even in my youth, I don't think I could do
No.
that. I'm not even sure I could do that in a video game.
All right. Battle for possession at midfield.
Yeah, a little push.
We'll push on the Vikings. 6:43. I don't think we have had one stoppage of play in this first half. We haven't. That's kind of like the match the other night. It just went on.
Just briefly for the goal.
Yeah, very clean. Once again, Martin will send this one in. Strong left leg, and she sends this one almost all the way through. The Wildcats try to get possession. There's both teams trying to get ahead on it. Viking possession. Another goal would be nice, but the Vikes have that 1-0 lead. True, this team has not lost a conference game to 3-0-2. Won quite easily over Mount Mercy on Saturday night during homecoming. There's an offside.
I'd be curious to see if Culver tries any of those over-the-top passes in the second half when they're heading toward the north end and have the wind at their backs.
Have the wind a little bit, yeah, because that wind did pick up somewhat. Culver men's team heading over to the Burns Center to get ready. This one headed back and forth. Still in the Viking end, or the Culver end now. Garcia tries to get it to Nichols. Nichols can't get it past Sydney Martin. This one goes back to Madison Dean, and a little bit of traffic here. But they get it back to Bustos, and she'll send it forward, headed back. Try to get the long pass ahead to Curtiata. This will be onside. Here comes Garcia. Nice pass and a goal. Good 2-on-1 there. And that goal, I believe, is Curtiata. I believe it was 14, Curtiata, who got the goal. We'll go check, but I think that was Curtiata. And it's 2-0. On the replay, good pass from Garcia. Got 2-on-1, and Curtiata was right there. That's a good play. That's her 4th goal of the year. So it's 2-0. Vikings with the lead late first half, 4:13 to go. That was a nice pass from Garcia. That was a nice 2-on-1 there.
Good 2-on-1, and there was actually a third option on the left side if Curtiata had faced any kind of defensive pressure.
So the Vikes get that insurance goal here in the first half. Send this one up. Good pass up the left side, and the Wildcats will have to chase that one down as Brianna George and Fernanda Portugal both in pursuit. Now here come the Vikings again. Have only given up 8 goals all year. Good job this time by La Fuente as she helps Bustos out, sends it back.
I think Stone's only touched the ball once, and that
Yeah.
was on a pass from Bustos.
Yeah, they have not had a shot, have they? Have not had a legitimate shot on goal in this first half. Now Vikings take it away.
Oh, it's a nice move.
Nice move, right side, long shot, goes wide right.
So there was a 3-on-2 developing and a shot from about 30 yards out. I'm not sure that was the play Drew necessarily might have wanted to have. Charging in with, there's plenty of time left, 2.5 minutes.
She had Garcia, she had Curtiata on the left, and she had Nichols on the right.
And really no one between her and the goalkeeper.
Nope, she could have taken that almost all the way. Vikings playing a little keep away. Julia Amador up the right side, and the clock continuing to wind. 2 minutes to go, first half. 2-0 Vikings. Good first half by Valley. Trying to go 4-0-2 in conference play. And Culver could ill afford to give up another goal here at the end of this first half. Job by the Vikings. Now it's knocked away by the Wildcats. Vikings will have a throw in.
And really no hurry for Missouri Valley at this point.
Wildcats will have possession here, I think, or not. The Vikings are saying, hey, it's our possession, and I think that was Sidney Martin picked it up and said, hey, I'll throw it in. But the official said, no, that's Viking possession.
I don't think there was ever a whistle to say it went out.
No.
She just kind of picked it up.
Yeah, she just kind of picked it up. Now that does go out. It'll still be Viking possession, but we're down to 50 seconds in the half. We'll break away. We'll stay right here. Break away with our audio at the half and be back in about 10 minutes. Start the second half. 2-0 Vikings. Nice move by Curtiata. Keeps it alive. Down the left side. Gives it there to Portugal. Portugal double teamed in that corner. Trying to get it back out to Curtiata. Now it's Christy Chin for the Wildcats. Gives that one off to Kyra McGrady.
The Vikings just didn't have numbers in the corners. There were two people there, but three Wildcat defenders, and really nowhere for Portugal to pass the ball.
The two Viking goals by Pisani and Curtiata. And that's it for the first half. So good first half for Valley, lady at 2-0. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with half number 2. We're about ready for the second half. Valley leading 2-0. And as you look out on the field, Greg Mitchell Field here in Valney Ashford Stadium, the Malcolm Center for Student Life across the way. Looks like quite a few students using the workout facilities tonight. Why not? It's a beautiful facility.
That really is an amazing building,
It
the
really
Student
is.
Center.
You know, and this week, past weekend was homecoming, and about everyone I talked to, whether it be, especially the students, how many times did you hear, why wasn't that here when I was a student?
Well, and Drew Mueller was here the first year I was teaching here. He comes back and he's like, well, this wasn't here when I was there, and this wasn't here when I was here, and we weren't doing this, and don't even talk about the dining hall because that's all new and better. And so he's like, where was all this stuff when I was a student? And that's a credit to President Bonnie Humphrey and to Greg Sylvie and to Tom Pfeiffer and everyone who keeps improving the campus and improving the facilities on campus.
It just continues to get better and better and better. All right, we're ready to go. The Vikings have a 2-0 lead, and those two goals, as I mentioned, one from Laiz Pazzini. She had the first goal, and then Sylvia Curtiata with the second goal. So that's where we stand, 2-0. I guess right now, Chaz, if Tyler Tomlinson, thing to do for Tyler is to figure out how to get some shots on goal. His team has not had really a legitimate shot on goal yet tonight.
Very minimal offensive pressure in that first half. Some of it may have been the wind. Some of it was just really good Viking defense, picking out the spots which Culver was trying to attack and then sending the ball back in. The other thing about Culver, no shots. Janae Stone touched the ball once in the first half, and that was on a pass from the defense, Laura Bustos, back to her, and then it went back to Bustos, and that was all we said of Janae Stone in the first half.
We talked to Janae at halftime of the game Saturday. She was also named homecoming queen. We asked her about that. She's given up 8 goals. A lot of times there's not a lot of action back there. She said she stays focused, cheers on her team, always staying in it because it can happen in a minute, in a flash. So
all it takes is one pass over the top. There's an odd man rush, and you're on your butt trying to save something.
And the Wildcats now will have that wind, that breeze advantage, if you will. And it looks like that's died down again now too. Picked up a little while in the first half and then kind of died down. 2-0. We're just underway. Second half. First of a doubleheader.
It doesn't seem there's much of a breeze on the field, but the flags on top of the goalposts, so the football goalposts, and Old Glory out there is blowing nicely in the wind.
Now here comes maybe one of the best opportunities for Culver. They get it down the left side in the corner, and that's still loose. They'll send one right across the front of the goal mouth. Now this one is sent back to the left. It's headed out of there by the Vikings. That's really about the best chance the Culver had. They keep the attack going here, though. Turn. Here's another shot, and this one is grabbed by Stone just before one of the Wildcats can get there.
Best offensive pressures of the night so far for Culver-Stockton.
Janae Stone, Kansas City senior, wants to be a kindergarten teacher. Oh, here come the Wildcats again. They split the double team, but the Vikings able just to get that left foot on it and send it out. But we've seen more pressure off the Wildcats in the first 2 minutes of the second half. We did really the whole first half.
And Culver's come out very aggressive to start the second half, and maybe Valley a little sluggish to start the second half. I think it's just a perfect storm for Culver to take advantage of what's appearing to be a slower Viking defense to start the second half.
Be a corner for the Wildcats. And again, those numbers are hard to see, but I believe it's Maggie Hauska with the corner. With the left foot, sends it in. It's headed toward the goal. It's still loose, knocked away by one of the Vikings. That may have been Bustos who got just enough of that one to knock it away from the front of the goal. Now they battle, and this one goes out. But boy, all of a sudden, the Wildcats keeping the pressure on the Vikings here. Early in second half, we're just underway. We played about 2 minutes, just a little over 2 minutes. But another possession for the Wildcats. Here's that somersault throw in all the way across the front of the goal. This one sent across. It hits the left post. Still loose in front. And now this one is sent wide right.
And one of the Culver players took a shot and hit her own player square in the chest and kicked back out. An unfortunate break for Culver-Stockton. And then the other shot off of that deflection went well wide right.
The first one went off the post, then one off one of the Wildcats, and then this one wide right. So, again, that was the best opportunity the Wildcats have had to score. Now they keep the pressure on here. This one goes out. I think the Vikings will get possession.
And really, since the wind kicked up about midway through that first half, all the pressure has been on the north side of the field.
With the throw in for the Vikings will be LaFuente. 2-0 Vikings. As you can see on your screen, here's the throw in. And this one goes out. It'll still be Viking possession. Curtiata tried to get ahead on that, could not do it, but the Vikes still have possession about midfield. And once again, LaFuente will toss it in. Gets a running start, and this one gets up into that breeze and just almost stops. She's trying to give it to Riley Kerr. That didn't make it to the Viking bench. Now LaFuente had possession. Here come the Wildcats, but LaFuente able to get it and bring it up the right side.
And it's a good thing she did, because they had a player streaking down that left side, Leah Miller. Had that ball gotten to Miller, Miller would have been all by herself.
And I believe Leah is their leading scorer. This one goes out.
And much like the Vikings did at the end of the first half, the tail end of the first half, Culver controlling the pace of play and keeping the pressure on Valley side of the field.
Yeah, Leah Miller has 6 goals. She is their leading goal scorer, so it would be no surprise if she would be able to get something going here. Here's Bustos off to LaFuente in front of Drew Hawkins. Now this one's sent out right at midfield. Vikes have a 2-0 lead, trying to go 4-0-2 in conference play. Curtiata right in front of the Viking bench, and now the Vikings lose possession of it. And it'll be Sydney Martin with the throw in. Gets it back. She has strong legs. She sends this one deep.
Again, the ball riding in the wind. And it was Sydney Martin who made that block in the first half, who was on the backside of the goal. Otherwise, it'd be a 3-0 game.
Vikings now have it in midfield. But here come the Wildcats. They have the pressure on. Ball is out in front and going to be chased down by the Vikings. They'll send this one out. That's Bustos.
Vikings a little bit on their heels right now.
Yeah. Quick throw in by the Wildcats, and they keep the pressure on. This one on the left foot, but it's knocked away again by Bustos. Now Bustos knocks it away from one of the Wildcats. Good defense by Laura. But as we saw in the first half, most, as Chaz pointed out, most of the action on the north end of Greg Mitchell Field. Wind blowing from south to north.
Culver had a hard time getting over the center line in the first half. And so far, Valley's having the same difficulty here in the second.
We're 7 minutes into the second half. Vikings on the attack. 1-on-2. Good defense by Culver, however. The Vikings trying to keep it in. Garcia gets to it. Splits a couple of defenders to Kerr. Back to Garcia. Trying to get it back to Kerr. And the defense got there. Hey, Garcia, pretty good. Good footwork.
Good footwork. Very quick player.
Men's match will follow this one on moval.edu.
No, that should, there you go. I called it handball.
Handball, so the Vikings will have possession here. Again, with the only stoppage in play we've had in this match so far was after the 2 goals. 37 minutes remaining. Long pass sent in, headed away.
I think that ball was designed to go about 10 yards farther, but it just couldn't in the wind.
Yeah, look at this one. That one goes across the goal line to the left side, but boy, that ball was up in the air. It just stood straight up.
It's like hitting a plastic golf ball
Yeah.
into the wind. Just kind of
just
takes off and then stops.
Just nowhere to go. It's tough. Doesn't from here doesn't appear to be that much breeze, but certainly there is. We're seeing the effects of it. But Coach Hawkins happy with that 2-0 lead. Bustos will send this one all the way back to the front of the 18-yard box where Janae Stone just sends it back to midfield. Vikings keep that one in. That's a nice pass up the sideline. And now knocked out by Riley Kerr.
And for many of these possessions, the Vikings are just content to chip it out of the zone and have Culver reset.
Just what you said right there. Just knock it out. Let Culver reset. That was Pizzini. Pizzini off to Cortiata. Ball midfield. LaFuente with control for the Vikings. And she'll send it up that right side. And now the Wildcats thought sent it out, but it stays in all the way across the goal line. So goal went across the goal line. Goal kick coming for the Vikings. Janae will do that. Yeah, you can see the effects of the wind. She normally gets that to midfield, and that didn't make the 40-yard line.
And much like Valley did in the first half, Culver's creeping its defense up to about the midfield line.
But the Vikings have that lead.
And it would require something for the Vikings to go over the top, and that high pass would just get knocked down anyway. So tough sledding offensively into that wind right now.
Wildcats keep the pressure on. A little contact on the far side. It's going to be Viking possession, I believe.
A little jostling for the ball.
Viking possession.
And the Culver defense right now, this is even respecting it.
Yes.
Because, again, that ball gets knocked down.
Now this goes out about midfield. Still be Viking possession. Certainly glad you can be with us tonight on Movell.edu. Doubleheader soccer. We're in the second half of the women's match. Vikings leading 2-0. Men's match to follow this one. Throw in for the Vikings from midfield. This one back into the Viking end. And give it off to Dean. Dean brings it all the way to midfield. Tries to get it through to Cortiata. She can't come up with it. But the Vikings now trying to keep the pressure on. Nichols goes after that one on the far side. Vikings left side as they attack the south goal. 33 minutes to go. Wildcats need a couple of goals. Coach Tyler Tomlinson out about midfield. Or as far as he's still out of field of play, but standing about the 50-yard line.
I think he's questioning
that call.
Push call. The Culver player went through the Valley players. Easy call.
And they're not responding to it.
Nope.
He's standing there with his hands on his hips, and they're not even looking at him. Good kick. Good. They send this one in. Oh, man, that got through the line of defense. And good play by Stock.
And that was a low line
Ooh,
drive
yes.
of a kick. It was not in the air at all. Kept it out of the wind.
Now that went from about 40 yards out. Now this one's going to go out on the north end of the Culver bench. Now Coach Tomlinson is close enough, the referee, so she can hear him.
He's asking. He's talking to anyone who will listen right now.
Anybody, now the linesman comes up, so he's talking to him. Wildcats have done a pretty good job of controlling the action, but the Viking defense has been there when needed. Kerr can't come up with that. Vikings take that one away.
They had two good chances to open the second half, and while there's been pressure since, really not any good scoring chances since then.
Nice job by La Fuente with the header and gets it to Garcia. Here come the Vikings. That's the best pressure they put on. And Curtiata was onside, but she couldn't catch up with that one, and it goes to Anna Stock. Curtiata already has a goal in this match. Good job by La Fuente to come up and get that. Now to Curtiata. Curtiata off to Urena. Taken away by the Wildcats. They'll send it up, and I think this will be onside if they get there, but it looks like the Vikings will get there first. Then we'll send it out. 30 minutes. We've played 15 of the second half. Still 2-0 Vikings.
And Madison Dean just ran that down and just,
rather
than chance it, just kicked it out of bounds.
I mentioned earlier, Madison, Dean, and Laura Bustos, they will play most of the 90 minutes in a close match, of course. Drew likes those two on that final line of defense in front of Janae Stone. Culver possession. The Vikings have their wall set up.
It's a left-footed kick heading with the wind toward the goal.
So they try to hook it in there. It's in front. Was there, and now the Vikes will let it go roll out.
I'm not sure how so many people missed that shot.
Wow, it was right through about 4 or 5 of both teams. And it'll be a goal kick for Janae Stone. That was a nice kick. You knew with that wind with the left foot, it hooked right toward the goal and bounced a couple of times, went by about 3 or 4 players.
George subs back in, and I believe that is
Haley. Is it
Nichols coming out?
Nichols is out. But once again, as we've seen in the first half, you have that wind at your back, and it's not a real strong wind, but it's obviously enough to affect play. And whoever has that wind at their back has been the more aggressive team. Riley Kerr will throw it in. Or excuse me, the throw in will come from Biete, trying to get it to Kerr. And this one goes out right in front of Drew Hawkins. Possession to the Wildcats. Drew takes a peek at that scoreboard. 28-28 remaining. Comes Garcia to Kerr. Tries to beat the defenseman to it. Can't do it. Wildcats send it out.
And that went off of Kerr.
Went off Kerr, so it'll be a throw in for the Wildcats. They are down by a couple of goals. Now the Wildcats can't maintain possession. La Fuente will throw it in.
Not that much would have happened of that, but for Culver, at some point, you can't have turnovers like that that are unforced.
Curtiata gives it to Kerr. She sends one toward the goal, and that thing got about to the middle of the football end zone and just died.
It was like a sandwich shot.
Yep.
Just coming down, straight down, and had she not caught it, it might have spun backward a little bit.
Stock had to run out and get that one. Now battle for possession at midfield. Pizzini in on that action. Here's Martin. Taken away from her. Now the Vikings try to bring it upfield. That's Riley Kerr. Riley out of St. Charles, Missouri. Of course, the St. Louis metro area known for soccer, as is the Kansas City area. Good soccer in the two cities in Missouri. And this one is sent out right in front of Drew Hawkins. So the Wildcats, knowing they're down by 2 goals, they'll have to keep the pressure on here.
That was a good quick foot by La Fuente, just sticking her foot out and having the ball carry him out. And again, forcing Culver to reset.
Yep. And the clock just continues to move. 26 minutes left, which is a lot of time, but
2 goals is a lot of goals when the team's
goals.
only given up 8 on the season.
Yep. And right now, other than a couple of possessions early in the second half, the Wildcats really haven't had that great of scoring opportunities. And very few stoppages in play in this match. Other than the 2 goals, there have been none. If the Vikes can hold on, they'll be 4-0-2 in league play. And the Wildcats would fall to 2-4. Valley with a throw in, headed away by the Wildcats. One back to Bustos. And Laura sends it up that right side. They get it to Kerr. Kerr sends it in. Here's a shot, and this one just a little high. It hits the football goal post. That's a pretty good shot.
That was a heck of a shot from where she was in the field. Again, it was a low line drive shot. I'm not sure if she was playing the wind and hoping it would get up and over stock and then dive into the net or what, but just at the bottom of the football crossbar and kick back into play, but dead ball.
That was Brianna George. Lottie Simic down in front of us. His men's team will play next. They lost a couple of good goal scorers last year, including Raul Bonet, who's an All-American. Vikings finished, got to the semifinals of the national tournament last year.
Goal kick for Culver.
Goal kick coming from Culver. And a Stock goes back to retrieve it. 21 minutes to go. 24. So that clock just continues to move. Now coming in for the Wildcats, Christy Chin. Vikings trying to keep the pressure on now. This one is off the back of one of the Viking players. And finally, Sydney Martin just sends it out. Vikings have kind of flipped the field here the last few minutes.
Flipping the field and much more energy from the Viking side. Culver had that flurry to start the second half, and it's kind of waned since then.
La Fuente, and she gets it off to Urena, who's really bumped off the ball. She hits the artificial turf, and it'll be a throw-in for the Wildcats as we play on.
Gordy Howe would have been happy with that check.
Yeah, that was a good check. Wildcats taken away by the Vikings. Bustos now on the attack from her defensive spot. Now she'll hustle back.
Yeah, it's Leah Miller who was trying to attack when Bustos took the ball from her, and she went down right away and stayed down. I think maybe tweaked her ankle when the ball hit between the 2 feet.
Yeah, she's limping a little bit right now. It is a contact sport. Leah Miller, she's out of Lake St. Louis.
It's like a coffin kick in football.
Yeah, kicked it right in the
Kicking
corner.
around the corner.
Now Miller with nice footwork loses it, however, and this one will go out.
Whoa.
I think Bustos last to touch it, and she kind of was pushed a little bit into the Culver bench, was able to get her balance.
Got to say hi to a few Culver players.
Yep. Close and personal. Vikings trying to clear it, and they do. Now it's 3-on-2. If the Vikings can get by, however, they can't connect on the pass.
Just a little bit behind the Viking offense.
Garcia will start the attack again. Splits two defenders, but Kerr can't get ahead on it.
And then the Wildcat defense fans on it, kicks it straight out of bounds, and Vikings will maintain possession with 21 minutes and 26 seconds to go. So Valley gets to keep pressure in the south end of the field and deny Culver any kind of real offensive rush.
Here's the throw in. Headed away. Out in front. Vikings trying to set something up, but it's taken away by the Wildcats. They'll send it deep, and that'll be offside. Official made the call immediately.
Yeah. She was 6 yards behind the defender.
Yeah.
Before the ball was even close. And
that was an easy call.
Now that shows a mistake that needed to be made there because the ball was going to get by the Viking defense. All she did was kind of wait. There wasn't a defenseman close to her.
Dean and Bustos both at midfield. There's a header toward the goal. Kerr's got a foot on it, and it sends it high and up and over the top. It was headed to her, and Riley got that right foot on it. Pretty good position, but it's just a little high, and it went over the top. So still 2-0.
And for the last 10 minutes, the pressure's been on the south end of the field.
Yeah.
Valley working into the wind and putting two good shots toward the net.
20 minutes remaining now, so the Wildcats running out of time. Vikings will have possession. Pazzini hit the turf. She's up and all right. Men's match to follow this one. Should be fun. And this one sent out behind the Culver net.
That'll be a corner.
But it'll be a corner for the Vikings. From the far side as the Viking men's team starting to warm up behind the Culver goal. Here it is with the right foot out in front, headed away. The Vikings come up with possession of this. La Fuente had a foot on it for a moment. Now she is sent back in by the Vikings, and that is Pazzini. But it goes right to Anna Stock. But all that took a couple more minutes off the clock. Stock with that wind at her back sends this one all the way to midfield. Wildcat possession. They still have time, but they're going to have to get something going in a hurry here. Sydney Martin. About 50 yards out. She'll try to send it over the top, which she'll try to do with this. Strong left leg, and she sends it right to Bustos. Now the Vikings give it to Kerr. And this will go out, possession to the Wildcats. La Fuente couldn't get to it.
once Bustos deflected the ball, there really wasn't anything Culver offensively could do. The ball carried him to like a no man's land where there was just Viking defenders right there to kind of clear the ball.
Well, Chaz Maddie with us. He normally directs, but Juliana Doyle directing tonight. Maddie's going to go work camera for a little while. We'll see you back here in a while.
See you back here in a little bit.
Okay.
Give Jesus Zilli has an interview with football assistant coach Jody Ford. So very interested to bring that story to our Viking Views program next week and see what Jesus can do. But he has to do that interview.
All right, so there you go. The MassCom students. You run the camera for a half and three-quarters of a women's match, and then you've got to go over to the Burns Center and do your project for Viking Views next week, and then come back for the men's game. Jesus Zilla, very good student, MassCom. And by the way, last year in my radio class, he won 2 awards with the Missouri Broadcasters Education Association, a feature story and a couple of awards. So excellent MassCom student for us. Juliana Doyle, one of our former students, is back as our grad assistant, and she is directing this broadcast tonight. And Georgina Padilla is working the other camera this evening. Glad to have you with us. Moval.edu. Lots of talent. Janae Stone has possession here. Folks, we're down to the 16-minute mark. And the Vikings maintaining that 2-goal lead. They got both goals in the first half. And thanks to all of you watching, some of you Wildcat fans, we appreciate you coming on board. And I'll say it again, John Childs, the SID at Culver, you ought to appreciate the work he does. We appreciate it. All the information he gives us whenever we need something on the Culver-Stockton Wildcats, we get it from Mr. Childs. So appreciate all the work John does as well. Good working relationship, fun to work with people like that. Good move here by Sydney Martin. Now she has it knocked away, but she'll have it back. And here's the throw in, knocked away. Garcia has it for the Vikings. Sends it back to midfield. Now this will go out. And I think we may have had, again, a little contact between one of the Vikings, Brianna George, and one of the Wildcats. I may stop play here for just a moment. I think that is Stephanie Adelman out of Moscow Mills, Missouri. Yeah, that's her. Oh, she got kicked in that exchange. Haley Nichols ready to come back in for Valley. They'll give Adelman a little time to walk it off. I think she's all right. So we play on. Good header by Bustos to keep that one away. Now they'll send this one right side with the Wildcats. They've got 2 gals over there, but the Viking defense is up to the task again. Valley's only given up 8 goals all year. 14:43 remaining in this match. Both men's teams warming up. The Wildcats behind the Viking goal. The Vikings behind the Wildcat goal. This one is sent in out in front, and now it'll go out across the goal line to the right. Here's the corner, the left foot out in front. Janae Stone comes out and just bats that one away. She wasn't going to take any chances. She just came out and batted that one away. So now the Vikings bring it up their right side. Kerr can't come up with it. kept in by the Wildcats. Now it does go out. They're unable to save it. But again, the clock continuing to move and down 2 goals to none. It certainly is not in favor of the Wildcats. Here's the throw in. There's a battle for possession. And this one's sent down the left side. Under 13 minutes remaining. Now the Vikings, Brianna George, right side, fires it out in front. There was a Viking there, but it's cleared by the defense. Now Garcia sends it, trying to get it to Nichols. Headed away from her. Vikings trying to keep it in on that left side, on the far side. Be a goal kick for the Wildcats here. Be possession to the Wildcats as we are down to the 11.5-minute mark. 2-0 Vikings. Vikings in no hurry now. I'll send this one in. And back into Viking territory, or rather Culver territory. Now the Vikings send it back to their defense. Goal kick coming for the Wildcats. And this one sent about to the 20 and then knocked away off the chest of Brianna George. It's kind of rubbing her right shoulder, that ball hit her. This one all the way to midfield, and Bustos has to go back, and then with the left foot sends it back into Wildcat territory. She's just a very solid defensive player. She and Madison Dean both. The Wildcats had a couple of offensive players there. Now the Vikings have to get back on defense as this shot, taken from about 30 yards out, goes wide left. So Janae Stone will have the goal kick. And a couple of one substitute coming in for the Wildcats. And that is Heather Pendergraph is back in out of St. Clair. Here's the kick to midfield. And once again, off the chest of Brianna George. Vikings will have possession. Now they'll start taking their time down the 10-minute mark. Up by 2 goals. They'll send this one in. Headed back. But the Vikings keep it in. And trying to get this one to Nichols. good job of sliding out to get it. It was Anna Stock. This one sent about to midfield. Headed back by Pizzini. Now off to Fernanda, Portugal. La Fuente comes in, left side. She gets it to Nichols, but it's behind her, and it goes out of bounds. 8 minutes left. Georgina Padilla, Jazz Maddie, Jesus Silla, and of course, directing tonight, Juliana Doyle, our grad assistant in the mass comm department from Rio de Janeiro. Wildcats trying to have a 2-on-1 in the Vikings, and that's Madison Dean. Wisey looked and saw two blue jerseys coming after her, so she just sends that one to the bleachers. And let some more seconds tick off that clock. Again, the Vikes have given up just 8 goals this year. There's that somersault, throw in, and whistle blew. They're going to do it again. She says, man, I got to do that again. I like it. How long you work on that play. She'll start way out in front of the bleachers. And they get a running start. Put the ball on the turf and then do her somersault or flip and then let it fly. This shot is going to go wide right. Another goal kick coming for the Vikings here. 6:26 to go. So Valley in pretty good shape in this one. Trying to go 4-0-2 in league play. Believe the Vikings go on the road. And I've got the schedule here somewhere. We'll check it. I think go on the road. Out to Janae Stone, down to Janae Stone, and she just comes up and lets it fly. I think the Vikings are on the road this Saturday. I don't have the schedule in front of me. I'm not mistaken, they may play at Clark on Saturday in Dubuque. The Viking possession here, I think. It will be on the far side. Well, they throw it away, and it'll be Culver-Stockton, 5:27 counting. So this one is just about history. Wildcats could score in the next minute or so. They've still got a chance. Vikings know that, so they'll just, as they did there, just knock it out. Allow for another throw in, go back and play defense. Wildcats had a couple of good chances to score early in this half. The first 2 minutes. Those have been their two best chances of this contest. Here comes the throw in. It's out in front. It's headed away by the Vikings. Another header. And now Garcia kicks it high in the air. It's still loose on that right side. And the Vikings finally send this one out. Boy, that was around for a long time in front of about 15 yards out. Another throw in. Headed toward the goal. Viking defenders are back. Now it's one-on-one. Dean with possession, and once again, she just sends it out on the far side with the left foot. 4:12 to go. A quick throw in by the Wildcats, but the Vikings send this one down. And they'll send it out again. Quick throw in again by the Wildcats. They'll send this one in. It's onside. And here's a shot right to Janae Stone. Pretty good opportunity there, but Stone was able to grab that one. Now the Vikings. La Fuente gets it to Garcia. Garcia ahead to Nichols, but once again that pass is behind her and out of bounds. Possession to the Wildcats. Here's the throw in. Wildcats send it across, but the Vikings intercept. Garcia, rather, I believe that's Brianna George with a nice footwork. Garcia gives chase. Bustos sends it ahead. Nichols gives it to Garcia right at midfield. She'll send it down the middle. 1-on-2 for the Vikings. They look to find Nichols on that right side. Can't get it to her. Vikings keeping the pressure on here on the Wildcats as time continues to tick away. Now this one will go out. Bustos makes sure it crosses that line. 2:42 left. Be a throw in for the Vikings, and as you imagine, they're not be in any hurry here. Into Garcia. Garcia protecting it. And off it comes to La Fuente. He sends it to midfield. Kerr tries to run it down, and now Kerr does have it. Turns and gives it to Nichols. Nichols right side. She is onside. Nichols stops there. Centers it back out. Garcia, no shot, and that one's blocked. And that one was blocked by Sydney Martin. 2 minutes. So it appears the Vikes on the women's side will go to 7-2-2 and 4-0-2 in league play. And Culver will fall to 5-5-2 and 2-4 in the Heart of America Conference action. We'll take about a 15-minute break between games, and then we will be back with the second contest. And there's a goal, and if there was any doubt, it's over now. It was either Portugal or Garcia. I think it was Portugal. It was. Boy, nice pass. And she was wide, wide open. And that is her first goal of the year. So Fernanda, Portugal, their first goal. It's 3-0. So the Vikings will win this one. It goes out. We're down to 1:23 and counting. Well, again, this Viking defense has only given up 8 goals all year. And close to pitching another shutout. And a pretty good effort by Anna Stock and start a goal tonight for Culver. Real good effort. They've had a lot of injuries. I know Coach Tomlinson said at least 3 ACLs already this year, halfway through this season. Wow. But tonight it's the Vikings night. As Dean has it, we approach the 1-minute mark. It's out. Clock continuing to move. 3-0. Vikings like this shutout. Give them only 8 goals. Be not bad in 11 games. Bustos back to protect this one. And we'll just send it out with the left foot. Well, the Wildcats able to keep it in. Down to the final few seconds. Over the top. There's a header. Wildcats still working hard. As time is running out on them, we're just down to the last few seconds. 10 seconds to go. And this one goes out, and that will probably do it. It's going to belong to the Wildcats, but they may not get this corner off before the clock runs out. That is the end as the ball's in the air, caught by Janae Stone, and the Vikings win it. 3-0 over Culver. Pretty nice victory tonight by the Vikings. Elias Pisani with a goal. Sylvia Curtiado with a goal, and also Fernanda Portugal with a goal. The Vikes win it 3-0. We're going to take a break.
We'll come back with the men's contest in about 15 minutes. It should be a fun one. You stay with us on Movell.edu.